Hey, welcome to Gun Stuff. Today we are bringing our Windham Weaponry 9mm carbine back out to the range. Last time we were out here, we shot it and I had a less than stellar scope on it, so I didn't get quite the performance out of it that I wanted at long range. So what we want to do is we just want to bring this back out here, throw a different scope on it, a better scope, and just show a little bit more of the capability of this. Again, what we're getting back into is that we love the platforms that are cross-platform compatible, meaning that I can run the same magazines and the same ammo in my Glock pistol that I can in the rifle. Great for a competition and even more practical for self-defense and or home defense type situation. So just a quick recap on the Windham Weaponry. This has all A2 furniture, has 16-inch barrel. It's a carbine, so this is a rifle, so this is going to be legal in most states. Only difference is it has the detachable magazine, which you could run into in some of the states that don't allow that. This is forged upper and lower and has all the mil spec equipment in it that you could change out if you want to change something out for your own selector safety and or trigger, stocks, grips, things like that. Picatinny rail across the whole top and has last round bolt hold open. This thing is coming in at like 6 3/4 pounds. So it's going to be able to absorb that recoil that these blowback carbines generate, because it blows all that pressure back. You got all the weight of the buffer and they got the heavy bolts in them to absorb part of that 9mm blowback. So this is going to be able to counteract some of the weight. So if it's going to feel like it shoots smoother than a lot of your other 9mm carbines. Overall length on this is 34.5 inches. And what we're going to do today is we are going to be putting on it the Swamp Fox arrowhead. So the Swamp Fox arrowhead is the direct competitor to a lot of your low power variable optics that are now reaching up into the higher power level options. So you have like Vortex has the 1x10, and some of your other higher end optics have the 1x10 as well. So what they're bringing to market is they're bringing the high 1x10 magnification. Most of these only go between 4 is the low end, usually 8 is the high end, but this is now going up to 10 power on here. All right, so this is a great scope, great piece that's going to complement any of your rifles, because now you're going to be able to dial this up to 10 power once you want to go all the way out to range. So again, Swamp Fox arrowhead that we're putting on here, and it has a Leopold cantilever scope on here. So I'm going to go ahead and install this, and then we're going to go ahead and get it zeroed in, and we're going to start putting some rounds down range. All right, so now we have the scope mounted. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zero this thing real quick, take a couple shots at 50, a couple shots at 100, kind of get just about where I want, and then I'm gonna shoot a couple different types of ammo through it, see which one wants to perform well in this rifle, and then we'll take a couple shots at 150, and then we'll do a little bit of target analysis. So I got some regular 115 grain 9mm here. Gonna go ahead and get it zeroed in with this. I think I did pick one up, okay. All right, here we go, going hot. All right, clicks. All right, so now I'm zeroed on right about 100. Not spending a whole lot of time trying to get super pinpoint. What I'm gonna do now is I got a white paper target down there with a couple black dots on it. I only have 2 black dots, but I got 3 different types of ammunition. So I'm gonna put one group in the middle of the 2 black dots just to see where we're going here. So I'm gonna start at the top. Go ahead and give me a nice, try and take myself a nice, so we'll go a 5-shot group just to get a big spread. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and download this, load up a little bit of Cellar and Bellet, 115 grain. All right, now we're going to go ahead and go to the 115 grain Cellar and Bellet. We'll go to the bottom dot. All right, so now we're loaded up with Federal 9mm, 124 grain HSPs. All right. Just had a squirrel run right over the ridge right in front of me as I'm shooting. So it looked like a giant dinosaur running across that because he's in the ridge in between us. It's like, man, that's one big squirrel. All right, so got the group I was looking for out of that one. So that was pretty high on that. So I am going to give it an adjustment. So we had a really weird transition in between ammo here. So, and we'll show that here in just a second when we go down range. But what I want to go ahead and do is I want to go ahead and use the Federal Premium 124 grain Hydra-Shoks have been consistently the ammo that shoots the most accurate. I mean, out of just about every test that we always do. Occasionally we end up one, like I'm shooting the 365 sometimes, and the 365 may work well, but the Federal Premium 124 grains seem to be very, very accurate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this adjustment, and then I'm going to go ahead and shoot a 150-yard group with this, and then we'll go down and do some target analysis. All right, so now we have everything loaded up. We got like 10 rounds in of the Federal Premium 124 grain. I'm going to go ahead and shoot one group of 5, and then give one adjustment, shoot another group of 5, just to see what kind of group we can turn out. All right, here we go. Going hot. right, so I'm going to give it a little bit of adjustment. I'm going to come up actually I'm only going to come up one click. So up one click, and then that'll be it. Make sure I got rounds. I think I shot an extra one on that last one. Not sure, so I'll just make sure I got 5 in here. All right, let's go down and take a look at our groups. All right, so here we are down here at 100 yards, and this is the target that I was shooting. So this is the generic reloads. Okay, so this is what we start off with. This was our generic reloads, and this netted us about a 4.5 inch group here. You had a little bit of lateral movement on there that could, you know, of course, that's why I shoot a bigger sample size, just so that way it can account for anything that, you know, there's more chance of me throwing something in there like too much finger or too little finger or something like that, breathing and all that good stuff. But it gives us a bigger sample size to choose from, a wider selection for us to be able to say, hey, this is what this rifle can do. So start off with these are generic 115 grain reloads, bought at the local store. This is the Cellar Bellet. So this group here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this is the Cellar and Bellet group, and this gave us another grouping of just for about 4 1/4. So this was a little bit soft, but this is one of the things that we like to point out is we always say find what your weapon likes. Get out, shoot a couple different boxes of ammo. If you're at the range with your friends or something like that and they're shooting a different brand, you know, swap a couple rounds with them and shoot it through your gun, because then you may find that you run into something like this right here. So this was our 124 grain Federal here, and then so the difference between this is our 5-shot group with the Federal versus the Cellar and Bellet versus the reload. So when you run into this is obviously, you know, this is why you want to throw these different kinds out there, shoot the different type of rounds through your rifle or through your pistols, all these things, because they're going to hold different groupings. And then on top of that, one of the things also is a lot of people will get out on the range and they'll just think, okay, well, you got 115 grain. Okay, I got 115 grain. And if you're throwing rounds back and forth, or if you just think that all of them, because they're 115 grain, are loaded the same, that they're going to perform the same, is not always the case, because this was pretty much zeroed in. We hit on the big still, then we hit on the small still, and this was what I was holding on the small still, holding center mass with that, and then I brought it over here so that way we could show a much better print, so that way you guys could get a better idea. But then this is 115 grain loaded to the same specs as this 115 grain, but it shifted the whole thing over. All right, and the group, you know, a 1/4 inch smaller on the group, but the whole group shifted over, and of course then we hit this. Now, granted, all my groups are still consistently left on here. So if you when you're measuring your groups, one of the things you want to think about is you always take and circle it, and then you find the center of that group. And so as I do this, and I say I take this group here, draw a circle, connect the dots between all these, and then draw a line right down the center of it. That is the center is going to be right about here somewhere. And then I connect the dots on these, draw a line right down the center of it, and that's where my center is. So you can see that I'm still like an inch and a half off. But like I said, we're not necessarily trying to put every bullet on this dot, so we're not spending a lot of time and a lot of hours. And in this ammo-geddon type scenario that we're in now, where we can't find ammo, you know, and ammo's just not readily available, so we don't want to spend all day putting bullets just on this one thing, when this group will show you exactly how well it performs. So just want to show you that this is the best group we got at the 124 grain out of that. So, you know, taking these out of consideration here, just looking at this is a 1 3/4 inch group with that rifle at 100 yards. So looking at that 1 3/4 inch group, you know, I mean, it's about the size of my thumb here. So when you're using this in a defensive situation, whether it's your car gun, truck gun, your home defense gun, whatever, you know, and you're out shooting matches with it, but then it's also going to be your defensive weapon, you can feel comfortable knowing that, you know, a group about this size, you know, you can put this anywhere, you know, on your threat, and you're going to be engaging targets out that far. So these, you know, of course, all guns can be used as defensive weapons, but most of us nowadays these are sport, you know, like 9mm PCCs and stuff like that. Most people just consider them more for sport because they're less expensive to shoot. A lot of them cost a little bit less than your higher end ARs, but they are still 100. You know, if you hit somebody 5 times with a 124 grain HST, that's as lethal as it gets. All right, so that's one of those things that you need to think about, keeping those as your defensive weapons as well, and being able to cross-platform interchange these with your magazines for your pistol versus rifle. So let's go ahead and go down, take a look at our 150-yard target. All right, so here we are at 150 yards. So I can't remember if it was at the 100 yards or if I was shooting the 150 yards, but as I was shooting this, we have gently rolling hills here in Kentucky, and as I'm aiming at the target, on the berm closest to us, a squirrel went running across the top of the berm. So I'm looking at this target way down range, and this big fat squirrel goes running across the berm, and it looked like a giant. It looked like, because I had it on 10 power, and then the squirrel looked like it was about this tall. But it looks like this target is actually sitting on a berm that's much closer, so it's a little bit of an optical illusion. So I thought it was really funny. May have distracted me a little bit while I was shooting. But anyways, started off, we shot our group here. This group here probably is at 150 yards. This was able to turn out a 1 3/4 group. 1 3/4 inch group at 150 yards. So that's really impressive. Again, the federal ammo is doing really good in here. But I was still over, okay? Just like I was talking about before, I went down the center of the group. I'm looking at my groups, I'm connecting the dots in my mind, and I'm saying, okay, the center of this group after I connect these is right here. So then I gave it an adjustment, and I come over a little bit, and I fired a couple extra rounds on here too. So I brought it over, but my group opened up. It wasn't as quite as tight a group as I had hoped. It was doing really well with this right here, and then I sent one flyer down here. Couldn't really tell if that was me or if it was just an ammo or something like that. But one of the things that we just want to point out is that even with this being this is a 3.5 inch group. So we're at 150 yards and it's 3.5 inches. I know a lot of people that can't really, you don't shoot 3.5 inch groups when you're at 10 yards or 15 yards, maybe even 50 yards with PCCs and stuff like that. So this is more than capable of being able to defend you and your family in any of these situations. And we can't talk highly enough about all the cross-platform compatibility, but we just wanted to get this out here today and bring it back out to the range and just do a little redemption video for this, because on the first one I wasn't necessarily prepared, didn't have the proper scope for it, and now that we brought it out, put a real scope on it, and we got this thing out here, we want to show you just what this guy's capable of doing. We hope this is really useful, and we'll see you next time on Gun Stuff.